What's up, everybody? How are you doing? Good morning. Good morning to you. We are here. It is 6:05 a.m. on the West Coast. So it's definitely morning for me. I'm sure it's morning for a lot of you, and then it's afternoon and all of those things. How's it going? It's Monday. Man, my I have a 9-month-old baby. I guess he's almost 9 months, and he's sick, and he was up all night. So I haven't slept a ton, but that's okay. I'm in the middle of a pot of coffee. I'll be tired in a couple hours and no time for that right now. There's a lot to talk about on my show. Man, what's up? Good morning let's look at the chat real quick before we dive in. Good morning, everybody. Richard Harris is here. How you doing, man? Coop has arrived. There's Django. All right, this is it. The Cooper Troopers are in the building. Moriarty is normally 9:05. No, Coop is a slacker, that's for sure. Hey, ciao. Ciao from LA to Italy right there. Let's see. Wilder, what's up? Algo Gems. There he is. He's got his coffee. I know he's in Canada. Great guy. Met him in Austin. Good to see you in the chat, buddy. People don't like it when you call him buddy, do they? Nobody likes buddy. I got to stop doing that. There he is, Ludo. Welcome, man. Hello. All right, there we go. So where's Crypto for Change? Ciao, Cooper. All right. Grazie mille, folks. Oh my God. Grande news. I don't know the word for news. I know very few. When it comes to Italy, it's kind of embarrassing how little I know. I'm an Italian American. I was with a woman from Rome for 6 years. I spent many summers there, and all I know is grazie mille and grande, which is Spanish. All right, folks. Look, guys, how are we doing? Is everybody okay? We got some, in the Algorand community. This is going to be a little bit, I'm going to talk about a lot of things, but there's been a lot going on in the Algorand community. We all know that I'm involved with that. A week ago today, I made a video sort of calling things out. And if you watched that video, you saw maybe you thought, wow, he seems really emotional about all this stuff. It wasn't really, yeah, it is but the emotion really came from, oh man, I'm going to call out all these things and I'm going to hurt. I don't know. I'm going to upset some people, and it's not great for, necessarily my bottom line. You know what I mean? I don't know if it is or not. It's certainly not currently. So that's just what it is. And we're going to talk a little bit about that episode. If you missed it, I won't talk too much about it, but there's a lot of things that have happened in this last week, in 1 week. And I think we should discuss it. So let's do that. Well, first off, let's just share my screen here and let's look at the big news. He gave us a Friday, late Friday afternoon announcement. They're good when they come in at late Friday afternoon. Sorry, I got like a hair in my eye or something. This is fun, guys. It's fun. It's fun to watch me try to get things out of my eyes, try to wake up. These are the first words I'm speaking this morning. It's all fantastic. All right. So let's go check out friend of the show, or former friend of the show. I don't know how he feels after my past couple of weeks. But let's see. W. Sean Ford, the former CEO of Algorand Inc., which is the tech company based out of Boston that does a lot of the development of the Algorand blockchain. He stepped down. He was the CEO, the interim CEO. A lot of us like Sean. He came on my show. He was a fantastic guest, really personable dude, very smart, friendly with Scaramucci, all the different things. I met him in person at Decipher in Dubai. He gave a great speech that wasn't necessarily about tech, but it was one of those kind of speeches that were, like almost like a, what are they called? Not a valedictorian speech, but when like the guy, like Steve Jobs comes in and gives a speech to a college. What the hell is that called? Oh, shit. 6 a.m., guys. Come on. It's in the comments. It doesn't matter. But my point is, hey, I should follow Sean Lee. Let's do that. So the point is that he has stepped down. or, whatever the situation is. Let's just read through his thread real quick. After 5 amazing years at Algorand and most recently helping to lead a broad strategic remapping of our business as interim CEO, I feel the time is right to step down and transition to a senior strategic advisor position with Algorand. I am incredibly proud of the Algorand team. Amidst a challenging macro environment, over the past 9 months, we have worked hard to refocus all areas of our business to support our core strength, building the best, most innovative tech in our industry. That's something to hang our hat on, folks. I know we have, and a lot of you were like, yeah, we've hung our hat on that. And where has that gotten us? I get it. And with the recent hiring of Matthew Commons as our CFO and the ongoing technical leadership of our CPO, Paul Regal, great guy, great mind, I am very confident in a positive future for Algorand. Finally, I want to thank Silvio McCauley for his support and colleagueship. And have no fear, Algo fam, I will check in now and then with my impromptu AMAs. Michael Arrington says, we'll miss you, Sean. You're one of the best ones in crypto. I agree, Michael Arrington. I also find Michael Arrington to be a bit of a badass himself. I know this from, I don't know a ton about Michael Arrington, but I did definitely see him at Decipher, and he is exactly that, a badass. And so is W. Sean Ford. Like I said, he came on the show, wonderful guest, wonderful dude. Met him in person, great guy. It's a loss, but then we got news to kind of, pad that loss that a lot of people got very excited about. And we have Silvio McCauley, the co-inventor of zero knowledge proofs, MIT professor. Does he still teach at MIT? I guess he does. I thought I heard that he wasn't anymore, but maybe I got that wrong. His pinned tweet is, Algorand is proud to be the greenest blockchain. Okay, now let's read this real quick. I'll blaze through it. I'll try not to put too much on this. All right, so he gives a heartfelt thank you to W. Sean Ford in a previous thread, but after that, he comes in hot, folks. He says, with W. Sean Ford's transition to senior strategic advisor, I'm committed to being more involved with the day-to-day operations and oversight of Algorand Inc., supported by Paul Regal, Matthew Commons, and the entire leadership team. We are fortunate to have built a strong bench of experienced leaders that can guide us into this next gross. I hope it's not a gross phase, folks. Let's not make the next phase a gross phase. Let's make it a growth phase. I wonder where my son gets his speech difficulties. All right. Excited for the future. Go team Algorand. Okay. I guess that was not a longer thread than it was a longer thread, but grazie W. Sean Ford. Silvio can speak the same, congratulazione. Oh man, what am I doing? Okay, and then let's see. Did it do anything interesting in here? No. So I guess that's time for me to give you a little commentary. I'll go back here real quick. All right. So there you go. You got W. Sean Ford doing a late Friday afternoon exit. And then we have Silvio McCauley stepping in and saying, what's up, folks? I'm here. I'm going to be more involved. I'm ready to help stoke this next growth phase of Algorand. Very exciting news. It was frankly the news that I needed. I was on Twitter earlier that day when I heard that Sean Ford has stepped down, and I'm being like, I first was like, wait a second, is this going to be the dissolution of Algorand Inc. because of in the States, for that matter, because of regulatory stuff and all of this stuff? And are they going to relocate, and are they going to dissolve this thing? It doesn't appear that is what's happening. It appears that it is Sean leaving, Silvio coming in and trying to guide the ship to where we all know it deserves to be. And I think that is exciting. I know a lot of you are excited as well. If you watched my show last week, look, I had some issues. I said that I felt like a lot of us that came to Algorand because of Silvio's vision, because of some of these guiding principles that we all are here for, that a lot of us came into this through Bitcoin, and then we found our way to Algorand because of certain things like censorship resistance, decentralization, all of that stuff, right? We understand. And I said that we got kicked in the face with some certain events from Stacy, the CEO, and telling people to sell their algo and all that. I'm not trying to hash that back up. I know that triggers some of you, that I would even have the nerve to bring that up, but it's a true feeling. And I think it's important, guys. I'm sure if you've been watching my show, you've noticed that there has been more of a bearish sentiment to some of my analysis or my editorial kind of view. And I'm not bearish on everything. I'm not. But I think it's a feature, not a bug, that I'm willing to be a little bearish, call things out, say what I believe to be true. Because obviously this industry, and certainly what I'm doing as a crypto influencer or whatever, is full of just moon boys just giving you bullshit, right? Because it gives clicks. If I put in the title that algo goes to the moon, or $10, I'm going to get more likes. I'm going to get more people watching it. But I'm actually trying to deliver something that's true. And to me, really, this isn't true in the financial advice sense. It's just true to the fact that this is what I actually think and feel. And so that is why when I saw that Silvio was stepping up and going to be more involved in the day-to-day operations, that I got excited. Now, some of you might be like, well, does he have this experience? It doesn't matter. What we need right now is somebody that can navigate these waters with the SEC, with everything, however it's going to be, the global situation. So I think Silvio is equipped to do that, and I'm excited about it. What else? Man, I just wake up in the morning, I make some coffee, and I stand here and I stare at this little green dot, and I just talk. Just talk. All right. Then there's some other, okay, so just really quick. Then there's some other stuff, right? We have Arul, who is one of the co-founders of Borderless Capital, formerly Algo Capital, integral to the beginnings of Algorand and the entire life of Algorand. Okay. Algorand has been on mainnet for 4 years, I believe. And it was even before that. David Garcia, and which turned into Algo Capital, which turned into Borderless Capital, were there from the beginning. And Rand Labs, formerly Coin Fabric. We've talked all about this. Rand Labs isn't exactly formerly Coin Fabric, but it's something. It's something. And we've talked all about this on the show. I don't need to go back into all of those details. If you're interested in it, you're just going to have to go on a exploration through my last few weeks of these videos. But they are they're making a move here, and I kind of called it, to be honest. And they're making an aggressive push to what appears to remove leadership. They're not happy. The community's not happy. They're taking a leadership position to remove leadership. And I'm assuming that Stacey Warden is their main target. Now, if you watched my show a week ago, you might be like, well, Coop, isn't that what you're asking for? Not necessarily. If you thought that what my point was of Monday is that Stacey bad, I didn't say that, and I didn't mean that. I did say that it felt like it was a huge blow to my conviction when she did that. I did say that I feel like she lost the trust of many people in the community when she went so aggressively to bat for Ryan Terabellini, the guy that's in charge of the Treasury, after losing $35 million to HODLNOT, and has a past that at the very least people question. And then telling people to sell their algo. I thought that was terrible, and she lost trust. Now, do I think she's an effective person? Do I think she's a nice person? Do I think that she is charming? Do I think that she can't be effective on the world stage? Well, absolutely, I do believe that she can be. So it doesn't, I'm not all or nothing here. But my point is I made the major point I'm trying to make. Sorry if I'm rambling a little bit. This is a little all over the place. I don't have notes. I'm just speaking. But the point I made last week, and then I'm going to stop talking about last week, is this is what's happened. Is that the Algorand Foundation in essence, has completely new leadership. There are very few identifiable people in the Algorand Foundation at the leadership level that were here a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. Since I started talking about Algorand, there's different faces. I just liked Sean Lee. He's one of them. It's gone, and Stacy. I made this point. New leadership. They're making changes. They cut the grant to Rand Labs. My algo gets drained. They cut the grant to Reach. Chris Swenner's doing a fork chain. They create their own venture capital. Borderless Capital is going for Stacy. They create their own VC fund, and then Borderless Capital is going for leadership. So it appears, from a logical point of view, that this new leadership at the Algorand Foundation is going after the legacy things that, or not even going after, being like, all right, you've gotten plenty of algo. Where's the results? And frankly, I agree with that. I agree with it. I think a rational person could look at, okay, Borderless, you've gotten ton, and I'm sure David Garcia individually, a rule individually, have tons of algo, and they've gotten tons of support. I know that David Garcia and Pablo Yabo specifically have the Coin Fabric guy saying that you even took more than you deserve type of thing. So there's that. And I think that the foundation is like, all right, so you had your chance, and now we need to move on and fund other things because where's the results, right? If that's fair or not, if that's even accurate of what the foundation is thinking or not, I don't know. I have no insider information, but that just seems like logic to me, right? And these legacy things like Reach and Rand, and they're kind of like, well, go F yourself, all right? You need us, and we're going to cause a problem. It's what it feels like. And I feel like another reason why I believe, and it's hard to say this because who the hell am I to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Another reason why I think that Stacy potentially should step down is because let's say that Borderless isn't pristine in their intentions. I have no idea, and it's kind of foolhardy for me to assume their intentions. But let's just assume that this is, or let's just for a exercise point of view, let's say that they're not 100%, whatever. This is a wonderful opportunity for them to exert themselves and put people in charge that are more friendly to them, because the community has turned against Stacy. So they're going to get a ton of support. This is a wonderful opportunity to step in, be a hero, and get what you want, right? And that is what it looks like they're doing. And if it's for the betterment of Algorand, then, it'll happen and it'll be a good thing, I guess. But I'm just saying that caution should be had. And if I were advising, I would suggest, okay, and what we're about to read from Arul, because he's been very active. But before we go in there, my suggestion would be Stacy steps down, takes a leadership role in what she's already doing great at, and somebody else steps in, because it just, instead of all of this stuff that we're going to kind of revolutionize governance and turn it into a DAO and vote for our leaders, like that seems like a very, very aggressive, time-consuming thing that we should not rush. So the big decisions like who is going to be the CEO at the foundation or whatever, that process probably shouldn't be rushed. We should create a system, a on-chain governance system, and probably go for lower hanging fruit first. And for the good of Algorand, I think that it would probably be wise for Stacy to step down, somebody else to come in, so we can kind of cool all this and then start to get to building something more substantial. But building the governance more substantial, right? I mean, that's just, and maybe that's in the process of happening anyways. And we have Sean Ford stepping down, Silvio coming in, and clearly there's heat on the foundation. They feel it. I don't know how they feel about it, but I'm sure that they feel it, folks. All right. So there's my thoughts. But now let's actually dive into what it appears Arul is doing. All right. All right. Here he is. Arul. He's a blockchain VC helping build category leading companies in Algorand and Helium Network, chairman and founding managing partner of Borderless Capital. Cool. Okay. So he had, I guess he is connecting with the builders and the founders and the foundation. And he's getting a lot of quotes. So there is a laundry list of complaints and suggestions that he tweeted. Let's go through those real quick. You guys can see this, right? You sure can. All right. So, first, there is a huge disconnect between builders and founders and the foundation. Leadership at the top of Algorand Foundation is lacking, except I have high praise for John Woods. I think we all do. All right. I thought this was a thread. Where did that go? There it is. Oh, was that just the last one? So confusing. All right, this was the beginning. Okay. We have about 50 members in the Voice of Algorand Builders Telegram group. Over the last few days, we collected many inputs and want to share a few with the community. How does the community shift from a mindset of demanding what the Algorand can do for us to a mindset of what we can do together? That's 100% a wonderful question. Because, yeah, like, how do we do this together? That's a good point. And that is, and that was one of my main criticisms. Awesome. Sliced information from Algorand Foundation regarding events. Sliced? I believe they should let ecosystem partners know in advance about their event schedule and possibly invite. Okay. There isn't sufficient financial. I mean, not that that wasn't a bad comment. I'm just saying, like, yeah, they want to know more. I'm just for time. There's a lot of these. They want to have projects be showcased more and then have more, lead up time to know about these events. There isn't sufficient financial support for projects that can bring in new users' liquidity to the ecosystem. I know we're in a bear market, but completely closing the faucet is not a good strategy. Okay, sure. But if you've been paying attention, the foundation keeps on giving money to these projects, and then these projects flop. Okay. And if you also haven't been paying attention, they recently lost $35 million of the runway of USDC in this HODL fiasco. So they're strapped for sure. Algorand has lost the interest of most venture capitalists at the moment. That's true. There is significant disharmony amongst everyone other than founder to founder and borderless to us all. I would like to see everyone getting back on track and rowing in the same direction. It's never, okay. I'm sorry. Whoever wrote that, I don't mean to be dismissive. I'm just saying we're never going to row in the same direction. Like that's not how this stuff works. I think the reason why we all chose to build on Algorand is because of the tech. However, that advantage is starting to wear off. Having the best tech doesn't mean anything unless founders have the support. Okay, so this is a lot about founders wanting support. I feel we're lacking a collective direction. The narrative for Algorand has deteriorated over the last 2 to 3 years. I believe Algorand needs to pick 1 or 2 areas of focus and put resources towards associating the brand with those segments. Okay, they've been trying to do that. That's what the music is. That's what the sporting events are. That's what they've been trying to do that. For example, since we have Dequency, Napster, Opulus, and other great music projects, I think we can make Algorand a meaningful brand in the music entertainment space. Also with Planet Watch and Climate Coin. Well, yeah, that's what they're trying to do. That's what they've always been trying to do. That was the whole shutting down Times Square. That was the whole allocating a portion of the transaction fees to carbon credits. Yes, this is happening. Now, this is just right here. Due to the lack of liquidity, it is difficult for projects to sustain their teams. This means many projects end up copying ideas from other chains instead of innovating. Okay. Compared to other chains, Algorand has limited tooling and infrastructure, which makes it challenging for new developers to build on the network. This creates a barrier to entry for potential projects. Algorand Foundation should consider supporting in a systematic way valuable ecosystem. Okay, there's a huge disconnect. Okay, that's where it ended. Gotcha, Twitter. All right. Okay, so that's right there. Okay, they didn't do push-ups, but they are a cute couple for sure. For sure. Okay, so this is interesting. Borderless Capital holds approximately 2% of the circulating supply of algo, including our LP positions. If an Algo Foundation member comes up for election to a leadership committee or board position, we will abstain from voting in that election. Okay, that's good. During the last 2 years, Borderless played a key role in seeding TVL within the ecosystem by participating in key DeFi projects and standard governance programs. Given improved participation by the broader community, we intend to reduce our influence by roughly half. This will bring our voting power to 1% or less of the circulating supply of algo and would give community members more votes and greater rewards for participating. Okay, that's cool. I'm hoping that means that you'll just commit half to governance and not just sell. But I think that's what they mean. I don't know exactly what they mean, but that's cool. That seems to be in response to a complaint. I did ask in this thread about I was curious if the 2% of circulating supply includes founders' personal allocations like Arul and David Garcia. I don't believe he responded. No, only one like. Look at that. Lonely one like. Do you guys even like me? Oh, Kevin. Look at you, Kev. Sorry to put you on blast, bro. All right. And then let's see. All right. I want to get to Algo Bharat doing cool things in India for sure. Wednesday at 6 a.m. Pacific time. Oh, so voice of Algorand community Wednesday. Well, folks, Arul made a huge mistake because no way anybody in the Algorand community is going to be listening to that. They're all tuning in to the ReCoop at 6 a.m. on Wednesday, right? I feel like I'm that Star Wars Natalie Portman meme, right? Am I right, Algo fan? Right? Anyways, well, I can't watch that. Or I can't listen to that, but they'll record it. You guys don't need to listen to this live. You need to watch me live and then go listen to that afterwards. All right. Okay. I mean, okay. Look, what they're trying to do is I'm trying to find. Basically, he's calling for a vote. And a Cooper Trooper, I don't know if he identifies as that. I hate to label you, but this guy, Feed Mel C, he has some concerns. Okay. So his concern is that they're going to use the Wonderland DAO structure, and they pretty much rugged. And I don't know a ton about Wonderland, but I do remember that was a huge kind of scandal a year or two ago, and they got away with a lot of money. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so this is his concern. I mean, it's not like, but he says, I think people need to question Arul's intentions. He has approached most all projects for support. It appears that the intent is to push for an on-chain vote to remove foundation members. One assumes to remove Stacy, but this would apply to any foundation member and others. While being fed a change narrative, this is a dangerous precedent. Here's why. If a foundation member can be voted out at any time, then what's the incentive for qualified individuals to take a position? Why would any foundation member stay if any dissatisfaction from a VC would result in removal? So that's why Arul was saying that they only own 2% of the thing. What he is trying, what Feed Mel C, his concern is that, and what all of our concern has been through our community governance, is that whales hold all the sway. So whatever Borderless Capital and a few other entities want, usually they can get. And so if people feel like they are at the mercy of VCs, they're going to have to It's gonna be one of those things where it's like almost like a lobbying group, and then we'll have to lobby Borderless to go for our intentions, and it'll become this thing where maybe people are worried about concentration of power and not being able to attract talent because they're at the whim of a VC. I mean, look, these are the types of questions you need to ask before you just dive into something like this, right? Because, like I said, look, if you look from the beginnings of Algorand, you see the same faces right now that are calling for change at the foundation, which the foundation has actually changed recently. But these pillars in the Algorand community, that a pessimistic person, which I was reading last night on Twitter, W. Sean Ford does not like a pessimistic person, but a pessimistic person might look at this and say, all right, these institutions, these groups, this group of VCs, Rand Labs, Reach, whatever, they've been around from the beginning. What do we got? Right. And now we're supposed to follow them to the promised land? I don't know. That's the question that Feed Mel C has. And he's concerned. Oh, and he makes this point. These are fragile times, perfect for a power grab. I hope we can ask these types of questions and get responses from a rule. I believe that was, you did get a response, Feed Mel C. Sorry that I don't know your name, by saying that they only own 2% and they plan to cut back their voting power. And he also said, if, for example, they put up a foundation member for CEO, that they wouldn't vote. But we'll see. And this was a tweet I was actually looking for, which says, CEO is not the right title for someone leading a foundation. The proper title is community leader, and their number one goal is to serve and grow the community. This applies to all blockchain ecosystems. I'm seeing several blockchains struggling with community management and adoption growth. I think it is about time we see leaders getting elected through on-chain governance. And then Oyster Pack, but his original Twitter profile, not one of his 5. He says, Algorand is a private independent entity. Algo holders are not shareholders in Algo Foundation. Governance's purpose is to delegate spending authority to the community on how to deploy Algo funds to support ecosystem growth, period. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I doubt that he's trying to. Algo Zulu says, seems likely that this is their ulterior motive, probably not only looking to remove, but also to replace with himself or others. I seriously doubt that he's going to try to replace Stacy with himself. I mean, he mentions John Woods. It sounds like maybe, I don't know what's going on, folks. I don't know. But I know to a lot of people, Borderless would be heroes if they were able to get this on-chain vote to come and to vote on somebody like John Woods to replace Stacy. That's why I think the foundation get ahead of that. And if John doesn't want it, I'm sorry that I keep bringing that up. Like, honestly, I like John too much to continue to say that, to be honest. But whoever it is, I don't know. I just think it might be better. But it has nothing against Stacy. I thought that Stacy doing the push-up challenge was really just sort of wonderful, to be honest. I think that shows a vulnerability and a commitment to the community. And I like that. And also shout out to IRL and whoever else was behind that. I actually, maybe you're wondering, well, ReCoop, where's your push-up challenge, bro? You're in good enough shape. Why don't you do a push-up challenge? Well, I did. And my fat belly was hanging out and I deleted it. Okay? Stop fat shaming me, everybody. Sorry. But there you go. I mean, what do you guys think? Let's look at the comments. Let's go to the comments. Anybody got a comment? You guys yelling at me yet? Oh, there she is. I was just talking about you, IRL. La 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 la. Props to IRL, Wilder. There we go. Borderless days are numbered. Trav, maybe a rule is just making a statement to be transparent. Yeah. Well, he's making lots of statements. And it does. It appears pretty transparent. look, I guess I'll repeat myself, but look, it's a complicated thing. And it's like, I think that people want these things to be black and white, but they're not. My video last Monday wasn't anti Stacy or anti Borderless or anti Reach. Certainly not anti Reach. I think Reach is awesome and those people are awesome. Like, there's nothing bad about them. I'm just trying to point out in a fair way certain aspects. And here we are. We have a foundation, right? It's one part of a bigger puzzle, a decentralized puzzle. They happen to have the keys to a treasury. And there are a lot of complaints about the use of that treasury. And I believe there's been a trust lost in leadership, right? But on the other end of that, the positives of the foundation is that there's a lot of new blood and talent there. These aren't the people that have been guiding the ship for 4 years. And there is something very positive about that, in my opinion. So, and that new leadership is threatening the old guard by pulling funding. And now the old guard is biting back. And so the community is in the middle because we're like, well, wait, we lost trust. Why did she defend Terrabellini so much and tell people to sell their algo and have Charles Hoskinson chime in and make us look stupid? What's going on there? She's taking pictures with Hillary. Nobody in the crypto world likes that. And then we have me being like, but this old guard, what have they brought us? How have they delivered on what Silvio put forward? And it's exciting now that Silvio's like, all right, I'll get more involved. Jesus, fine, basta. Okay, like, yeah. So Silvio's like, all right, I'm gonna get more involved. All right, great, we love that. I don't know. I think we should see how this plays out. I don't think we should rush into anything. I do think we should get on-chain governance, and I think we need to get XGov. Let's build out that platform, please. And let's have a way for the community to uplift, but to put up their own proposals that we can vote on and have a really cool thing. A really cool governance structure that's on chain, is truly decentralized. And then let's also implement those cool tools like, experience weighted by experience. And so even the people with 20, 30, 15, 5,000 algo, if they've been committed to this for a while, they get more and more. They get an escalating, vote. All of the stuff that they've floated for us that they say that they're already building. And I think that they are. And it would be great. And then we can start talking about how once one-click participation nodes come, how we can integrate that into being a requirement for governance and getting more and more participation nodes out there. And then I know a lot of big brains are out there wanting to talk about delegated whatever. I don't really know a lot about that. I'll talk to you guys about it, and then I'll talk about it on the show. I need to learn more. But so the point is that it's complicated on both sides here. And so I'm not sure. I think that the most streamlined way is for Stacy to step down and do what she does great, not leave Algorand. I don't think that would be a net positive for Algorand at all. I think that she is a dynamic person with connections, and she's fierce. She's fierce, folks. Like, believe me, you're not going to see me at an Algorand event again. She's fierce. All right. I've said too much. And that's fine. And I'm going to keep on saying it. But I don't think that she needs to go, but I do think that she's lost the trust of the community. I'm repeating myself. All right. So do you guys like it when I repeat myself? Is that one of your favorite things? Stacy made her feel human, in my opinion. Not going to lie, my fave tweet of her about the community to date. It was really cool. We have very similar couches, me and Stacy, and I just thought it was really cool. It was really cool. And she didn't, and by the way, maybe IRL, this was a bit of a shot at you because she wasn't on her knees. So got to step up. If you're ever going to become CEO of the Algorand Foundation IRL, you're going to have to get those knees off the floor. Gov says, when the community is viewed as noise or an obligation, it's not going to make for a harmonious environment for anyone. Now, I agree, by the way. At some point, the community does flip over to noise and they have to tune it out, because if it's just complaint after complaint after complaint, nothing's ever good. I mean, look, there wasn't a lot of it, but it's like Silvio says, I'm going to get more involved. And then people are like, well, does he have the accolades to do it? You know, like there is the idea that we're never going to be happy. Right. And I sympathize with that. But yeah, I mean, just being disposable, being like when you ask questions to get ostracized isn't the move, really. It'll, and if you keep doing it, it might take you on the gov train. At the end of the day, 98.9% of the algo holders want to get rewarded, and they are all in the red. All of them. Tokenization is crap. I don't agree with that. I don't know what that has to do with it, but that's okay. I had and have a solution, which I'm shouting at it, but nothing. Okay, I don't know what your solution is, bud, but I'm interested to know. And I know I follow you on Twitter, or I will if I don't. And I'll find out what your solution is. Enfolded, more bud, less bikes. I think that's his idea is that Algorand doesn't fund Climate Ride. They do fund dispensaries. Look up David A.R. White. Cooper is his twin. I don't know who David R. White is. What's going on? Enfolded will make the new headquarters at a bodega. What is happening? Oh, Moriarty. Okay, that's where I'm like going up. I vote Enfolded for new foundation CEO. Dylan says, I'm not sure why anyone would wish for Borderless to go away. That would be insane. I don't know that. Why would we wish for money to go away? I don't think that anybody is saying that Borderless should leave. And certainly Borderless shouldn't leave because they're interpreting what I'm saying to say that they need to go away, because who cares about what I'm saying? I mean, maybe you do, and I hope so. That's why you're here, but not to the point where, you know, you pack up your bags and you leave an investment that you've been committed to for 5 years. What I'm saying is, do they need to be guiding the ship? And are they even saying that they want to guide the ship? I don't know, but they're guiding this ship right now towards the change that I don't know. I don't feel like we know all the details. And I sort of sympathize with Feed Mel C's concerns about it's vulnerable. The community is vulnerable right now because we have lost faith in certain aspects of the foundation. So this is a prime time to jump in. So it's just, I guess really what I'm saying is proceed with caution. Like before we get on-chain governance and put up somebody to be the new CEO and remove Stacy, like let's get all of this stuff working, right? Like, do we even have are we even close to having the tools to be able to do all this? Because that will move so slow. How do we even do this? Can we get the on-chain governance? Where is that? Can we just get on-chain governance? Can we get an XGov platform? Can, if it is determined by whoever makes these decisions, that maybe it's a liability to have Stacy as the face of Algorand. I made this point on Twitter, and look, it's my personal preference, but really, who cares? But it's just my personal preference. It's like, look, Algorand is known for the best tech, right? We're known for the best tech. If anybody knows anything about Algorand, okay, they got good tech, but nobody uses it, is what you're going to hear. It's a ghost chain with great tech. Great. What happens to that great tech when a bunch of people come, like Arbitrum, you know, when a ton of people came and it didn't work? Well, obviously Algorand's a more robust thing than Arbitrum, I'm assuming, right? But anyways, but we all pretty much know, most people know that Algorand's never been down for 4 years. All of these things. It's the best tech. I would love a charismatic person at the head of the foundation that has those tech bona fides and can kind of really deliver that best tech vibe, but also with charisma. And I'm sure that that is in line with what Arul, David Garcia, and Borderless Capital want. I'm just, and I, you know what? I mean, I don't know. Like, look, I want on-chain governance. I want us to decentralize governance totally. I want the community to have more of a voice. A rule saying that they're going to cut back their voting power and they'll even abstain from a vote if it's somebody that's involved in the foundation and stuff like that. So maybe it isn't so bad. I'm just saying, can we please just like proceed with caution? Can maybe the foundation make some changes that make everybody more comfortable? And can we just deliver these tools and kind of do this in an orderly way? It just feels all sort of like why I reacted so poorly to rushing a vote for the recovery. It's like we don't even know what caused the hack. We don't even know if it's over, and we're calling for an immediate vote to make everybody whole again from the Treasury. It's like, well, can we get the results before we jump to these conclusions and make everybody make these decisions out of emotion? And I have the same feeling towards this. Like, how quick are we even talking about? And can we move forward in a more orderly way that doesn't feel so panicked and trying to almost feels like it's playing on people's emotions? It's playing on people's emotion that they don't like Stacey's leadership anymore. Is playing on people's emotions that they that people feel bad for people that lost algo in the my algo exploit or hack or whatever the hell it is. And so I'm just trying to make sense of it a little bit and not just take everything in an emotional way, being like, yeah, this is a way to get John Woods to become CEO and not Stacey. Like I would like that, I think, but I'm just also like, look, there's other ways to go about this. We just saw W. Sean Ford step down and Stilvio step up. We may very well see that on the foundation side. So a lot of rambling today, folks. I'm sorry. I'm not very organized in these thoughts. But I'm engaged in the process and I'm trying to navigate it in a way that is genuine and looks out for both sides. I'm not saying that Borderless Capital are bad people. I'm not saying that I want them to pull liquidity and exit stage left. I'm not saying that. There's nothing about what I'm saying is that. All I'm saying is that there was a change in leadership at the foundation and they stopped funding some legacy groups in the Algorand ecosystem, and those legacy groups are lashing out. And anybody that tells you that that's not what's happening is not being genuine, okay? That is what's happening. And it feels like there is these groups that had a grip on Algorand and they feel it loosening. And the problem is that the new leadership hasn't done a great job at instilling confidence in the community. So we're vulnerable, and that makes me uncomfortable. Even though I just said I loved Stacey's video because it made her vulnerable. Or relatable is probably a nicer word for that. All right. Is that enough? You guys want more of that? Two Tiny Tree says, having John Woods as CEO of the foundation would not be a plus for Algorand. John is perfect in his tech role. A CEO needs to understand tech at a high level, but requires them to be business centric. Okay. I mean, you say that with a lot of conviction. Are you sure? Can't there be business centric people all around the CEO? And the CEO is the vision, the communicator, the face, the guy that's on the panels, the guy that goes on CNBC or wherever. I feel like there can be plenty of business people. Stacey doesn't need to go. She's a business person. She can be around handling a lot of that stuff. And the CEO delegates. The CEO has a team. The CEO is able to communicate that team's vision, and he's able to hire good people. Now, do I know if John is equipped to hire great people? I have no idea. Maybe John's not the right person. Maybe John doesn't even want it. Whatever. But I'm not 100% in agreement with you, Two Tiny Trees. I'm also, I respect your opinion, though. Moriarty, that's been a vibe of mine as well over the past couple of weeks. I say we forget the foundation exists and work on the community being the one building Algorand and number one. That would be true decentralized power. And yes, absolutely. The only issue with that is the keys to the treasury. And in order for Algorand to really see adoption and success, that treasury needs to be allocated in a good way. And I think that there's valid arguments that there weren't. It hasn't been necessarily. Now, a lot of people are really down on DRL. I mean, I think that was a $100 million investment. But at the very least, with DRL, that's a forward-looking thing. Drone racing, it looks pretty cool. You're seeing, I'm seeing guys on Twitter actually watching that and being like, wait a second. These drone races are awesome. They crash. They're in huge stadiums. This is awesome. And frankly, when they give the trophy or announce the winner, it's the DRL Algorand Championship. So that $100 million bought something. I mean, Algorand is all over the place. It's a forward-looking sport. I think it's really cool. I think that drone racing has a future in our crazy world. So it's not all bad for sure, but it is important how we allocate that money. And all these things were also done in a bull market. So it's hard to look back and think, you guys suck, the way you did it. But I've repeated what my concerns were. It's more vision. I'm a narrative-based person. I've told stories for my life. I think of things as characters and people and narrative. Right. And I believe that narratives are very, very important in crypto. And unfortunately, the narrative for Algorand has been boring. But at the same time, it had gravitas. It had intelligence and big brain to back it up. It had Silvio. Now, a lot of us would be like, we would love to hear more from Silvio, right? Well, it seems like we're about to. And I'm sure that they need to be very careful about this. We don't want the founders to be the main person that's always talking about something because it looks very centralized from that point. So if you have other people at Inc., you have people at Foundation, you have the community, blah, 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 then it's more decentralized. It's not everyone looking to Silvio to save the ship. He's just another person that is participating in a decentralized group of people to, guide the ship. But in the end, Moriarty, I agree with you. And I've come around to that too. I'm not going to sit here every Monday and repeat what I said last Monday. You know what I mean? It's not helpful. And I'm not going to sit here and be looking at everything that's happening and always question what's going on. That's not what I'm going to do here. It does feel like in this last week, we needed that jolt. We got a jolt from Silvio. And we'll see how this plays out with, Wednesday and this group of builders that are meeting up with Borderless. And, we'll see what they come up with. And if we can build out all these tools for on-chain governance, it would be my opinion that we start to really build out the XGov platform where community members can upvote great proposals. And then we end up, I want to see that successfully get done. And then if there is a proposal from a Borderless in that XGov being like, we would like to replace the CEO of this with this, and or the CFO or whoever they're trying to replace, or they think would be best to replace, then as we've established and we've seen how the votes play out, And Borderless has been on their word to cut back their voting power, but didn't sell all their algo and crashed the price, then we might be more willing to upvote changes in leadership and stuff like that. And then we get there eventually. So let me just repeat. And then what time is it? Oh my God, I spent the entire hour rambling about this, and there's still a decent group of you. Thank you, people. I cannot believe I didn't talk about anything else except for this. I will not be talking about this tomorrow. I'll have way less viewers. It's fine. But I totally distracted myself with that comment of mine. Okay, I guess I'll just repeat this and then we'll move on. Is this. So, I'm not against Borderless Capital. I'm not against Stacey Warden. I'm not against the Algorand Foundation. I'm not against Algorand Inc. I'm not against, certainly not against Reach, Chris Swenner, all the people at Reach and all those lovely people. I'm not against anybody. I am here taking on this responsibility of being like a voice for the community that I hear and a voice for me and my inner conscience. So there you go. That's all I'm doing. And I'm looking to ask real questions that get people to have to give answers. And look, I determined last week that there were certain things that need to be said because I didn't think enough people were saying it with an audience. So I did it. I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate the Cooper Troopers. I appreciate having everybody here. And Arrington for CEO. Captain Obvious says, Michael, that'd be entertaining for sure. I would much more like to see the community managers and lead of the Algorand Foundation. The role of the foundation is to create community and to distribute the pre-minted algos. Yeah. I mean, isn't that true, everybody? Is Ludo right? Is the role of the foundation to create community and distribute the pre-minted algos? Because if that's the case, they probably should have just let me stay as a Los Angeles community champion when I said that they were out of touch. Because they're not doing a good job at creating community. It has felt like the community has been building in spite of the foundation, constantly at war with the foundation. War is a big word. Evis says, I agree with Moriarty, but once more, coins need to gain value, and only correct tokenization can do this. Oh, you tokenomics. Or do you mean tokenomics? Sorry. Tokenization, earlier when I was reading your comment, I took tokenization as like tokenizing like real estate or tokenizing, stuff. But I believe what you mean is tokenomics. When coins move higher, the community will be happy once more. I don't know, Evis, you might want to swap handles with Captain Obvious. Because yes, if the price goes up, the community will be much happier. But the price isn't going up, folks. I hate to break it to you. It will. But if you're in a hurry for the price to go up, I don't know. I'm committed to Algorand, and I believe in the future, but I do not believe in the short term. I mean, 20 cents is low, so how much worse can it get? But I'm just saying, if you're anxious for price go up, you might get little pumps but I just don't think it's coming short term personally. Real quick, is there any news that I should have talked about that happened in this last hour? Sorry. I'm just going to look real quick. Before we go, let's just look at old CoinDesk. Let's just see what we got here. Anything interesting? Bitcoin seems to be pushing down a little. I'll look at this stuff real quick before I sign off. Nobody's awake in this house yet. Franklin Templeton sees Web3 driving. Okay, no care. MicroStrategy pays off Silvergate loan and buys more Bitcoin. That guy is infinitely dedicated. So somebody who scooped up a bunch of the Silicon Valley Bank. First Citizens buys Silicon Valley Bank, assuming $72 billion in loans, $56 billion in deposits. I'll look through the news with you guys for a second if you want to stick around. Let's see. MicroStrategy, a software company that was co-founded. Okay, who cares? Come on, bro. We all know who a MicroStrategy is. Holds a large amount of Bitcoin, prepaid the remaining principal on its $205 million loan from failed crypto-focused Silvergate Bank, according to filing from the SEC. In addition, MicroStrategy said it purchased another 6,500 Bitcoins for a roughly 150 million at about 23,000 over the past 5 weeks. So we had, so if you're wondering where this pump from 19, 20, 23,000 came from, it wasn't just the $1 billion from, CZ and BUSD, but also you had $150 million coming from MicroStrategy. I'm so conflicted about Bitcoin right now. I want to own more of it. There's this great narrative that it's settling into, which it was created to be. It was this narrative that it was out of this kind of narrative that it was created. And this is the first time we're actually getting banks to kind of break down a bit. But this doesn't make me more bullish on the price action, maybe in Bitcoin in general, but I just know that from 20,000 to where we are at 28,000, there's been $1.2 billion pumped in from two entities. Now, does that mean it's just Bitcoin? And has CZ actually spent all that billion? We have no idea. So the acquisition of another 6,500 Bitcoins brings MicroStrategy's holdings up to 139,000, basically, Bitcoins, purchased at an average price of 29,800 and worth roughly 3.8 billion at the current price of 27.9. So they're underwater, but not by much. So, folks, if you buy Bitcoin today, you're getting a better price than MicroStrategy. Isn't that fun? All right. Okay, let's go back real quick. Let's look at a couple more things. Let's look at the block. The block is usually pretty good for new news. I know I had a whole thing. We're going to, what we're going to do? We're going to talk about zero knowledge proofs tomorrow. We'll talk about the Polygon ZK EVM. We'll talk about the layer 2 that just launched. We'll talk all about all that tomorrow. Anything interesting here? All right, it's all the same. Gucci is to take an active role in the Bored Ape Yacht Club metaverse. Okay. All right, let's just look at this real quick. There's an article yesterday on CNBC. Bitcoin is poised to blow up Africa's $86 billion banking system. And they talk about the Lightning Network. And, this is part of the Bitcoin narrative and all of these highly inflated countries where their fiat was worthless, Bitcoin becomes a wonderful alternative to hold value. And you're going to see more and more Bitcoin adoption. And if you're like that Balaji guy, you think that's happening in the United States in a few months. Hyperinflation, dollar to zero. God, I hope that doesn't happen. Sorry. So weird to me how aggressively people are rooting for the demise of the US dollar. I'm like, oh, God, well, maybe if I was in Africa, I might have that position, or China or Russia, but I'm over here in the United States, and that's a brutal. And I think most people in the West would be like, "Ooh, I don't know, so China's in charge then, huh? They're the new captain." The problem with China being in charge, folks, is that whatever you got to say about the U.S. dollar and the U.S. monetary system is that it's free markets. There's a lot of corruption and yada 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 yada. I get it, but no free markets in China. So you just at the whim of a guy named Xi on a lot of levels. So that's troubling though. You had the Kenyan president addressing people, and I saw on Twitter, and I don't know a lot of details, but saying if you're holding dollars, get rid of them because I'm giving you a little bit of alpha, and everyone's laughing. Get rid of your dollars because in a couple of weeks things are changing. So I think there's something called BRICS, and it's a group of countries that are with Russia and China, and Saudi Arabia has been threatening to accept oil payments in the yuan or UN, or however you say it. It's all a mess, and I'm going to continue to track that. But in the first time in my life, and I'm sure all of your lives, we're seeing a real threat to the US dollar. So the Dow is pumping. The markets are pumping. Oh, are you guys seeing this? You sure are. So we got the Dow up 230 points. I mean, this is moderate. The banks are rebounding, which potentially, if everybody stops worrying about the banks, that could be bad for that narrative that people are really trying to get out there, that the banks truly are insolvent and there's going to be a huge cascade of failures. It just seems unlikely. I don't know, but maybe, I said it not yesterday. I said it on Friday that my banking expert homework is not complete, but I don't believe all of this QE that everybody says that they're seeing going on by backstopping all these banks. I just don't. I feel like those are loans that a lot of people aren't even going to use. A lot of banks aren't even going to use. They're like a backstop at an interest rate, and that they have to pay back. Now, I guess the opposite is like, yeah, sure, they have to pay it back, but in a year they'll all be forgiven, and then it's just going to be total and utter money printed QE. Now, if that happens, that'll be bad. And are we going to enter into hyperinflation? If we do, owning Bitcoin will be a very, very good idea. And hopefully, if the SEC doesn't sabotage other cryptocurrencies as well. Russia's moving nukes to Belarus. Apple's being friendly with China. All right, nothing that interesting there. We'll look at Bloomberg, and then I'll say goodbye. Okay, so First Citizens Bank is buying SVB. The Fed's Kashkari, I think the guy's name is Neil or something. Neil Kashkari says bank strains bring risk of recession closer. Yeah, I think a recession is pretty much inevitable, isn't it? Yeah, I know. Like, there you go on Bloomberg. Jack Ma's retreat into hiding for his life slightly undercuts China's pitch to have more private businesses. Yeah. I mean, like, what world are we really looking to have? Are we looking like this guy said something potentially against the Chinese government and he had to go into hiding for fear of his life or fear or something, going to jail? Brutal, man. It's interesting. It's an interesting world we're living in right now. And we have absolute oldest people in the world guiding our ship over here, making tech decisions. Like, I don't know. It seems like what they're doing at the United States is with what they're going after with crypto is it does seem to be a play to protect US dollar dominance, but I don't know, stable coins, US dollar stable coins are pretty good to keep, US dollar dominance, but in the end, there is a very serious concerted effort to undermine the US dollar out there, and it's led by China, Russia, and teaming up with Africa, Saudi Arabia, oil, all of that stuff. It's scary to think about what the United States might do to protect US dollar dominance. And it's also scary to think about what the response would be to what the US does to protect US dollar dominance. Yeah. So these are the things that you don't sit at home, worried about. You don't get stoned and like go to Bloomberg or not Bloomberg. You wouldn't go to Bloomberg. Go on YouTube and watch scary videos on how we're headed to hyperinflation and World War III. But it's important to know that there is a concerted effort to undermine the dollar, and banks are in trouble. I'm hoping that they're not as in trouble as it's being made out to be. I do believe that there's a lot of Bitcoiners out there rooting on something that they don't actually want. Like, sure, bro, I get it. You own 40 Bitcoin, and if it goes to 1 million, you are going to be extraordinarily happy. But I mean, the dollar crashes to nothing or whatever, and the yuan becomes the global. It's just that world led by those figures seems kind of brutal, in my opinion. But that's also not a very well thought out thing. I'm reacting basically. Yep. All right. Okay. Anything else, guys? Thanks for sticking around. Name has to be promoted. Okay, I'm going to read through these and I'm going to go. Moriarty, Algorand Foundation is run like any other charity that controls other people's money. They use it to help themselves with minimal effort to further the true cause. As I see it, Algorand tried to differentiate itself by onboarding institutions and tech companies onto Web3. Problem is, they tried to do it the old Web2 way. It didn't work. Change is needed. I agree. I would even build the governance tools in my spare time, but I absolutely have not seen any will from the foundation to use it. Ludo is a underappreciated person in the Algorand community. I also think an algo stablecoin pegged to over-collateralized vaulted silver bullion would be a great addition to the ecosystem. I mean, that would be interesting. Silver-backed. Silver is interesting in the sense that it's been so manipulated for so long. I don't know. I don't know what happens there. Well, I'm glad you tuned in too, Bog. I appreciate you appreciating my take. Evis says, this is an amazing example of being behind. Polygon's ZK EVM goes live on Ethereum mainnet. Silvio designed it, for God's sakes. Now, if you guys don't know what zero knowledge proofs are, I'm sure you do, the remaining 60 people watching right now. And zero knowledge proofs are basically a way for, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. I'll talk about it tomorrow. You guys know what it is, anyways. Dylan says a foundation is supposed to create a strong foundation. Well, I mean, he's playing around with the word foundation, but I agree. If I'm the peanut gallery here thinking about the foundation, I mean, and just kind of inspired by what Dylan just said, is it does seem at times that the foundation is more concerned with themselves and being just protecting themselves. And that was one of my main concern. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I still have this crap on. That was one of my main concerns of when it seemed like Stacy prioritized protecting her people over what was best for the community. So that doesn't create a strong foundation. That creates distrust in the foundation. And if you don't trust the foundation, you're not going to walk on it. And we could just really go with this metaphor, and then you might slip into the cracks, lose all your money. They're kowtowing to who will help the Algorand Foundation, not Algorand. I mean, that's kind of what I just said, isn't it? You're right. And you said that before me. I'm not trying to, I didn't say that's just what I said, and then you said it. I know you said it before I just said that. 18 minutes ago, you said that. Why'd you apologize? I don't know what I said to make you apologize. And Wilder is giving me all of these measurements. How much worse can it get? You did not have to say that, Coop. Don't jinx us. That's funny. The price of algo will not go up until Coop does his algo active push-ups. Let's go, bro. All right, fine. I'll do it. Yeah. Bog says it's not about the price. This is the time to build. It's true. Community, algo kit, DeFi expanding. 100%. Community. Because these guys that are all complaining about these builders that are complaining or constructively criticizing, however you want to put it. I don't mean to put a negative connotation on it, but these people, their main problem is that they don't have users using their thing. So if what Ludo and others are saying, that the foundation's main role is to build a community and to deploy the capital in a community-led way, hopefully, we have to figure out how to build community. Now, some of you might be like, well, maybe Coop, you've been somebody that's been on YouTube for a while and you've built a community and now you're kind of criticizing everybody. Does anybody want to enter into this? Because old Coopy is saying it's on fire. Well, old Coopy pants. No, I get it. But we're also in a crisis moment where the truth needs to arise so we can make good decisions. Believe me, when we get this, the Silvio move was a move in the right direction for my narrative. And so as this starts to come together in a way that isn't mean to anybody, that whatever, and it comes together in a nice way, you're going to see Cooper from the ReCoop excited again and talking about other things and trying to build my audience here and my community. And then hopefully it's a good thing. I'm literally just blowing shit out of my ass right now. There is a ton of positive going on if you ignore the price. 100%. Breaking news. Governors have pushed through a vote for Coop to do live push-ups on Tuesdays to ReCoop. Jesus. I guess I could do that. That's funny. The people who tune in, I hope, believe in Algorand and desire a robust, highly utilized protocol for decades to come. 100%. The live races are fun, by the way, for anyone thinking about going. I want to go, Brandon. By the way, there are news that AlgoSigner is not going to get any more support. Yeah, the foundation is cutting off a lot of this like beginner, these initial things. I don't know that. Do a lot of people use AlgoSigner anymore? I don't really know. Dustin's like, have you ever heard of DCA? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Done plenty of DCA. And by the way, I DCA'd at 38 cents. I DCA'd at 20 cents. I DCA'd at 16 cents. So yeah, I know what it is. Captain Obvious is like, W. Sean Ford for the CEO of the foundation. Did I miss? Everyone is talking about the fiat is the biggest scam ever. Yeah. Moriarty is upset about moving away from the gold standard. Charlie, that's a buddy of mine. I know Charlie. That's a fun face to see. You're welcome, Charlie. I routinely destroy Charlie in fantasy football, folks. So this is a couple. He's a his worlds are colliding right now. But I have made absolute what's the word? Mincemeat. I have destroyed this pathetic school teacher, Charlie Escalante, repeatedly at fantasy football. So he's a pathetic fantasy football player, but a wonderful guy with a big heart. The Federal Reserve is an illegal, unconstitutional agency that's only allowed to exist because the people don't have the power to override the criminal government protecting it. Also, there you go. It's intense, Moriarty. And you're right on some level. DCA and Richard Harris's dollar cost averaging into the yuan or UN. What's the right way? UN? UN sounds like the UN, but I think that's the way. Dennis snakes, vipers. There's a lot of snakes. Kenneth Grissom says, good show today, Coop. Asking good questions. Borderless Capital versus Algorand Foundation is pretty interesting. I agree, Ken. I hope you don't mind if I call you Ken. The Fed was created in 1913 to stop bank runs. Now they're causing them to undermine a new, more transparent, decentralized banking system. Is it them, though? Is it the Fed? I mean, they did stop the bank runs. I will say that some of these bank runs that have happened felt suspect. But yeah. Homework for Coop. Somebody's giving me homework. Is Inc. and Foundation purposefully moving all operations and employees outside of U.S.? Well, homework for Coop. Gov, if you look at my response to W. Sean Ford stepping down, I asked that exact question. I mean, Foundation is already outside the U.S. in Singapore, but Inc. is out of Boston. And I thought, okay, well, if we're not, their CEO is stepping down. They just got the first CFO in the history. I was like, are they winding down operations to move overseas? And would you blame them? No, I wouldn't. But that was, there you go. Ken's next comment is can't blame them if they do. And you can't blame them if they do. But Gov, we're on the same wavelength here because I asked that same exact question and was ignored on Friday or Saturday, whatever day it was. Mel was a bit late. It's all good. Yeah. I get it, Mel. Diversify your assets. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Mel sees the writing on the wall about China going to Taiwan and then the promises that the U.S. has made to all that. The war between the world banking cartel and mostly communist countries who want to have their own state-controlled currency free of the world reserve currency. Global bullishness. Let's fucking go. Thank you, Cooper. Thank you, Evis, for all your contributions. I'll go on Twitter and I'm going to look at more of what you've been proposing. State socialism is communism. Goodness, this is still going. Just got here. You're late, Chris. I'm just trying to get through these comments. I'm going to have to go back and watch this. Thank you, Chris, for showing up. Yeah, the Borderless Capital call was today. It started an hour and a half ago. They keep on starting their calls right at the time of my show, Chris. Too many people to get anything done in the meeting, but it was a good start. Okay. Mel wants me to do my push-ups against the wall and pretend. Evis says the coin price matters, and it does. It does. You won't have any devs left if no one is using the tech and adoption is close to zero. Check my tweet today about metrics on transactions. Sad. I doubt Stacy has incentives to support the best projects. They will support the best for Algorand Foundation, not her. She has incentives to support bad projects or rely on her and will support her to stay in power. Well, Juan makes a point that I often think when your leadership style is compliance and obedience, then you allow for less talented people because you need people that you can control, and you allow for talented people that are good at manipulating your desire for power. So it allows, you need to have a leadership style. And I'm not saying, I don't know what Stacy's leadership style is, but I think that what I just said and what Juan is saying is in the same ballpark. Moriarty, 100%. What do you know about the SIAE project in Italy? It started in 2021, is no longer traced. That's the artwork project, right? I don't know, actually. Oh, thank you, man. We'll onboard the Cypress community tomorrow on your show. I appreciate you, brother. You are on point on all Algorand issues. I appreciate you, Evis. I appreciate all of you, all the Cooper Troopers, and everybody that was able to hang out for an hour and a half today. Jesus, I got to get my kids to school. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern and every other day this week. See ya. Peace.